Hey, welcome to part 4 of our sci-fi guy series. So in this one, let's tackle a few things. Let's finish the pants, and we have the shoes left. And the other thing that I want to do is I want to slap some chains on this guy. So this is where we left off last time. And the only thing I did off camera is I dragged a few more lines for the inside part of the glove, and also added just a couple foldings on the glove, right? So maybe the glove is kind of hard surface, but then it has some kind of a soft fabric towards the bottom. I don't know, it kind of made sense to me. And I just used this CG cloth. Now, one thing I do want to mention is that I just literally a few minutes ago added this entire UI that I'm using to my community tab. So if you want to go there and download the same UI that I'm using for all these videos, including all the brushes, I included all my brushes as well. You're welcome to grab those. And so we, are kind of always on the same page. So let's see. So to move forward, what I'm going to do is let's figure out how we can add a couple chains to him. So again, I have already some that I could use, and let's say I wanted to grab this chain right here, chain 3 on my UI. And how would I wrap this around his body, right? So I'm going to click Alt, I'm going to select the body. You can see I selected the layer, and I can just turn off my X symmetry. And what I could do, I could just start dragging this on him and see if I like where it's headed, right? So right now it's definitely not being added to the body properly. So let's go ahead and jump into our stroke. And in here, let's go ahead and take a look at the curve and see what's going on here. So one of the things we do want is snap. So I'm going to turn that on, and that should help us. Let's see if that's the case. Yeah, so see, now it's kind of hugging the surface. We can move it around. And what I want to do is I just want to literally go around the body and just create the chain as something that is maybe just resting on his body, right? So I'm going to go around. All right, and the bottom you can see kind of snaps together and closes the loop, right? If I wanted to control the size of this, I can just make my brush a little bit larger and just simply click on it, and that's going to give me a larger chain. All right, now to adjust it into a better position, what I could do is I can just click to bake the mesh in. I can grab my move brush, make it kind of huge, and just very gradually start adjusting the chain to fit the body a little bit better, just to make sure that it doesn't go too much into the body, right? All right, I think that's pretty cool. If we wanted to, we can maybe make more, and maybe we can make one that's slightly different, right? So let's go ahead and grab this other chain. This one is called chain 1. And again, these are just external brushes. Now, if I hold down the Alt key and select my pans, right? Let's just make a kind of a belt going all the way around. So how do you do that? We could attempt to try to use the pans. If I drag a line and hold down the Shift key and go off to the right, you can see that zBrush is attempting to find the surface and create kind of a closed loop. And I get something like that. So it's a little bit of a struggle to try to find a closed loop that makes sense. So you have to try a few different things and see if you like that. If not, if you are not getting the result you want, keep in mind you can always insert a sphere, right? And then do the same trick, just kind of drag the chain around the sphere, and then delete the sphere, and then you'll have kind of a perfectly positioned chain. But in my case, I think something like this should work just fine. So I'm going to actually click to bake the chain in, and just like we've been doing, I'm going to grab my move brush and just very carefully just adjust the chain to be in the position of kind of the belt, right? That's going to be my my belt. All right, so now we have this cool belt as the chain. We have the big chain on top. We can decide if we want additional chains maybe hanging somewhere else, but I think this works for now, right? One thing I'm thinking, it would be cool if there was a piece of chain just hanging maybe on the side, right, on the side of him. So if I wanted to do that, what I could do is I can grab this chain one more time. Let's go ahead and click and drag to unmask, and let's just make a string. Just something even like this should be perfectly fine, right? And what I could do now is I'm going to click on the mesh to bake it in, grab my move brush, and what I'm going to do is I'm just simply adjust this chain to make it look like it's part of this kind of a hanging belt, right? So I'll do something like that. Now there's a piece that's kind of broken. I'm going to delete that piece, and all I want is just to make sure that this other one, this metal one, is kind of you know, maybe inset inside, or maybe if I wanted to, I could push this out and just have it kind of doing something like this, right? So it's kind of buckled in. All right, I kind of like that. I think that's pretty cool. If I wanted to delete this piece, how do I do that? I can turn on my polyframe, and if I do auto groups, you can see that every single chain link is going to be a different color, which means if I press Control and Shift and click, and then click again, I can hide the one that I don't want. And maybe I could do the same thing with this one as well. And then just simply click Delete Hidden, and that's going to delete those links, and now I have something that looks pretty cool, right? It looks like it's part of the belt. And we can decide if we like how this is hanging or if we want to adjust it. I think it's perfectly fine for now, right? Very cool. Let's jump on our let's do the rest of our pants. I'm going to do Control and drag to get rid of the masking. I am going to let's turn our polyframe on, do Control Shift and click to hide everything. Let's go to split, and under split I'm going to say split hidden, and that's going to put the chain on its own link, and now you can see that my pants are on their own separate layer, right? I'm going to jump out of the polyframe, and what I need to do next is just simply subdivide this. It's currently in Dynamesh, and if we wanted to give it a better topology, right, let's go ahead and go to geometry, and then we'll just ZRemesh this to something that makes sense. I'm going to turn adapt off. I'm going to set this to 1 because I do want it kind of low. I'm going to do ZRemesh, and I do want my active symmetry on. All right, if I turn my polyframe on, you can see what I'm given, and I think this is pretty cool for a low poly version. If we wanted to, we could reduce it just a little bit, and maybe we'll just go with something like this, right? All right, very nice. So this is going to be our low poly version. Let's go ahead and subdivide it so we can add some folds to this, right? I'm going to press Control D until I get something that makes sense. If I go to geometry, I can see that it's currently subdivided 5 times, right? And let's start sculpting some detail on this. And that could be as simple as I'm going to grab this folding brush. Again, you can download that in the community tab as well. And let's just start adding some detail to this. I do have my symmetry on, so I'm just going to start creating, holding down the Alt key, I can press in, and I can just start creating kind of an illusion of folds, right? And we can have folds going this way. All right, initially I am going to have my symmetry on, so I'm going to go ahead and go around, and let's hold on the Alt key, maybe press this in, and then do something like this. Let's just add some creases here, or some folds as well. I can press this part in. We can smooth out if we wanted anything, right? All right, here I'm going to jump out of my symmetry and just start creating folds that are not exactly symmetrical. If we wanted to, we can also solo this, right? Maybe that's gonna help us as well. And I'm looking at the knees here, and from the knees down, I'm just gonna start creating kind of a random looking foldings on the pants. All right, I think that looks pretty good. If we wanted to, we can even add a line. Let's go ahead and grab something like Damien Standard, turn our symmetry on, and let's just add a side line like a seam. And if we wanted to, we can even do one inside as well. I'm going to go ahead and polish this to maybe blend it in a little more, and definitely blend the bottoms a little bit. I'm just kind of creating kind of a stylized detail for these pants. All right, if we wanted to add some surface noise, we could do that. Let's go ahead and jump into surface. And in here, there's a bunch of options, including noise. If I click on noise, you can see what that looks like. There's just a little random generated noise. You have a lot of different options to play with. You also have this, we have this line, right? We can adjust the noise if we wanted to. We can also adjust the size of the noise and the strength, right? Here's the noise scale. Maybe you want it larger or smaller. I'm gonna go for something smaller. Here's the strength. So I'm just gonna do just a little bit of a noise. And if you like it, you could say OK, and you can see a noise was added to the pants. If I zoom in, you can see what that looks like. All right, so that's pretty good. If you like it, you could say apply to mesh. Now, as soon as you press apply to mesh, it is going to change a little bit. So check this out. You can see what it currently looks like. And if I say apply to mesh, it kind of dialed down itself, right, a little bit. So if you want this a little stronger, we can go back into the edit and maybe turn up the strength just a little more. And now if I say OK, you can see it's a little bit stronger, but then when I say apply to mesh, it kind of, blended a little more, right? So now it looks maybe a little more like some kind of a pants material. All right, very cool. Let's jump out of solo and take a look. Thing we could do, if we wanted to, we can grab something like the pinch brush, and very quickly we can go through and pinch parts of this mesh to make it feel even more like a cloth, right? Just kind of pinch maybe the bottom of the pants, and I'm going to try to make it somewhat random. Just go around and just do some pinching. All right, you can already see like I'm just breaking some of that symmetry, right? All right, very cool. So you can do more as you wish, and let's go ahead and jump on our shoes real quick. So for the shoes, I'm going to select one of them, and currently you can see that the topology looks pretty awful, right? Let's go ahead and change the topology by simply z-remeshing it. So I'm going to go to geometry, jump into z-remesher. Right here, I'm going to turn my adapt off, and let's go ahead and solo this shoe just so we can focus on it, maybe jump out of the perspective view, go into a side view, and I do want to make sure that this doesn't spiral out of control. I want to create loops, right? So to control that, let's do this. Let's go ahead and just do control and select the bottom portion of the shoe, turn on our polyframe, and let's just do Alt W to create kind of a different color for the bottom of the shoe, right? And now what we could do here with z-remesher, we can turn on keep groups, and let's go ahead and dial this way down to like 1. I don't have active symmetry on, and I'm just going to simply say z-remesh, and that's going to give us a nice clean loop going all the way around. So now we know that's going to be the sole of our shoe, right? We can always change it. You can always dial this down by doing that. All right, and that's going to be a good base for the shoe, I think. Let's go ahead and maybe expand this out, the bottom portion of the shoe, by just simply going to Z modeler. Let's go to hover over the face, go to Q mesh, polygroup all, and let's just simply pull this out just a little bit, right? So we have something kind of interesting. Very cool. And you can decide if you want to do more detail or not. What I'm going to do is I'm going to jump out of polyframe, And what I want to do is I just want to crease these edges here. So let's go ahead and let's go to crease, and you know what? Turn this on. Let's go ahead and crease this. And I want to crease edge loop complete. So I want to go all the way around, and I'm going to crease this, and I do want to maintain kind of this corner here as well. Okay. All right. And so now if I subdivide it, if I press Ctrl D a few times, you can see that it's maintaining those sharp edges, and that's what I want, right? And that's pretty much perfect for what I was going for. All right, so now to add even more detail, let's just do a couple cool inserts, right? So what I could do is I can jump into my IMM brushes. I'm going to press I, and let's just take a look and see what we have. Let's go into something called IMM Spaceship. And in here, if you press M, you'll have an ocean of incredible cool little things that we can maybe play with, right? So you know, let's just try a couple and see if it makes sense for us to use maybe on the Sci-Fi shoe or something like that, right? So let me just grab this capsule 4, for example, and maybe on the side of this this boot, right, I can insert. Now it's not going to let me because it says you need to freeze your subdivision levels. So let me go ahead and do that. I'm going to freeze this, and let me just insert maybe some detail on these boots, right? So I can do something like this on the side of the shoe. I think that's pretty cool. Let's press M and see what else we can do. All right, and to copy my shoe to the other side, I'm going to auto group it, do Control Shift and click to hide all the separate pieces. And now, as we've done before, let's go to subtool, and let's just do a split, and we'll do split hidden, and that's going to put these pieces on its own side and its own layer, right? Which means we can go to geometry, and let's go ahead and jump out of freeze subdivision, right? And that's going to give us our shoe back. Now we have something like this. Now to mirror it over, let's go ahead and do a duplicate, right? Go to geometry, let's delete lower, let's mirror it over, and let's go ahead and reconstruct our detail to level 6, right? So it's the same as this side. Go back to subtool, let's delete that other shoe, we don't need that anymore, the initial one, so I'm going to simply delete it. I'm going to grab these elements from the right side, duplicate them and mirror them over, and now I have 2 of the same shoes on both sides, right? Very cool. So this is just one way of doing it, and I just wanted to take kind of a fun simple approach of just inserting detail. You can of course also choose the chisel brush and add more detail. Now what if you wanted to quickly add some kind of a hanging cloth to this, right? What would be the easiest way to do this? What you could do is you could select your pens, and what we could do is we can literally just draw a mask right on this geo, right? So let me jump into solo, and holding on the control key, let's make sure that we have our pen selected, and let's just start drawing a piece of cloth that we want hanging from this character, right? So maybe it could go something like this, maybe it's gonna go all the way around and even cover some of the back, right? So I'll do something like this, and it doesn't need to be even or anything, but all you need to do is just simply mask out some of this area, right, that you want, and we can always clean it up. All we need is just some kind of a geometry to play with, right? And this is perfect for what I was looking for. Next, we need to just scroll down to extract, and in here of course we have a preview, right? If we press extract, we can see what that looks like, and let's jump out of solo as we're doing this. So as I say extract, you can see the thickness of the material. If you're happy with this, and I think 0.2 is pretty much perfect. I'm going to say accept. As soon as I say accept, a new layer was added, and you can see it's right here. And you can also see that my pens still have the masking on them. So I'm going to select this, do control and drag to get rid of the mask, and go back into this kind of a cloth material, right? So let's do Control and drag to get rid of the masking. I'm going to do Control Shift and grab my knife tool, and let's just maybe slice this a little bit, right? Just clean this up a little. So I'm going to maybe cut the front, do something like that. I can also cut it from the side, and maybe I can also cut it back here as well. Just kind of trim it, make it a little neater, right? And if we wanted to, we can create some cuts in the material. So I can do Control Shift, and then I can tap Alt key and do something like this, where it just has like kind of these sharp cuts in the material. So that's pretty cool. We can do that real quick. Let's just go around and maybe add some here. Holding down the spacebar, I can move this around, and then again tap Alt, create kind of a sharp cut, right? So very quickly you can see I can go around and do that. If you wanted to add some cool stretching or some kind of a movement to this, let's go ahead and just move this around, maybe just mess this up a little bit so it's not so perfectly even, right? And we'll do something like that. And then what we could do is we can also grab this spiral brush and just simply add some movement to this, so it looks like it's a little more like a material, right? And I'm okay with it going through the mesh a little bit. Holding down the Alt key, you can spin it the other way. And now if you grab the move, you can just kind of position it and pull it out of the way. And just very quickly I can stage something that looks pretty cool. If I want to smooth this out, I can smooth this out. That's fine. And of course, if we want to add additional folds to this, we can always subdivide it. I can press Control D. To subdivide this, I can grab my folding brush, and very quickly I can add some cool folds to this. So it looks a little more like cloth, right? I can also grab my move and I can turn on the AccuCurve, and what I could do is I can pull some of these ends to make them a little more uneven. Alrighty guys, I'm going to stop here and maybe make a couple more tweaks and then throw him real quick into Arnold and see how he's looking. But I hope you enjoyed this part 4. If you would like to see turning this into kind of a low poly character and doing UVs and maybe running it to the Substance Painter, let me know. If not, if you're just doing it for your portfolio piece, you could just as easily just paint it in here and bring it into Arnold for some quick rendering, right? And I have many tutorials on showing how to do that as well. All right, thank you so much for joining me, and I'll see you guys in our next video.